Cheers and welcome to the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. I'm your host, Marty Beniaz. Western New York and Buffalo has had an amazing 200-year history of brewing beer. Today, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at some amazing craft breweries. We'll learn a little bit about Buffalo brewing history, and you might learn a fact here or there about beer that you didn't know before. Our first local brewer is Butera's Village Brewhouse in Hamburg, where Jimmy and his team are perfecting the art of small batch brewing and serving up some of the best brick oven pizzas in Western New York.
So back in 2006, I had an opportunity to open a pizzeria, which we ran successfully for 10 years. And in 2015, there was an opportunity, and we went from a takeout delivery pizzeria to a full-service restaurant in 2015. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was given permission by the state liquor authority to brew beer, and we've been brewing beer since 2020. So one of the first beers we brewed when we came on in 2020 was a pandemic porter. It's a porter with raspberry mixed in with a very nice, easy drinking porter. Another one, and one of my favorite, is a light lager. We call it America. So we're a craft beer. We only serve craft beer in-house here, no domestics. So we wanted to create a beer that anybody could walk in and off the street, and because we don't have one of their domestic beers that they like, we have something that they will be able to drink. So we created America. It's a light lager, easy drinking, crisp, clear. You know, we move on to the Pride and Punish. Pride and Punish is a traditional IPA. It's got some more of a piney taste than a flowery taste. It is an award-winning IPA that won an award some years ago on a home brewer circuit. The Hef is actually an amazing Hefeweizen beer. It's got a real banana front with some clove in the finish there. Very traditional. We also brew our homemade root beer, which every kid loves to come and have a beer with dad, so having a root beer on tap is always a pleasure. And then one of our other excellent IPAs is Kickstart Your Hops. This is a hazy IPA that is florally and rich in drinking. We just started a series called Land of the Free, and every few months we're going to find an American-style beer to brew, and so we'll change it up. We'll have a Kentucky Common, we'll have a California Common, and other American-style beers, pre-Prohibition, that we could brew and just pay homage to, the land of the free. So we have a Spike Nano brewery. It's a one-barrel system. We can brew one batch of beer at a time. We have 6 fermenters, so we can ferment up to 6 at one time. It's enough beer to supply the restaurant with a little extra if we want to, sample it out to other restaurants or other bars out there. But for the most part, it's a beginning stages of a brew house, if you will. If you've ever been overseas, especially in Germany, every pub you walk into brews their own beer. It's not like here where you got, all these main core beers that everybody tries. You walk into a bar in Germany and you're gonna get something different in every bar because they all brew their own. So our one barrel system is equivalent to what pubs do in other countries. Always looking to expand, and we're always looking to grow. We've been brewing for about 2 years now, almost 3 years, and the next step is a bigger system. Right now we're a 1-barrel batch. We would love to get into a 20-barrel system, do a full production thing, and that's kind of where we're driving the ship to.
The term mind your P's and Q's originated in the pubs of England, where bartenders would yell it at rowdy customers. What do the P and Q stand for? Is it A, pence and quid, B, pints and quarts, C, princes and queens, D, pains and qualms? The answer is B, pints and quarts.
Welcome back to the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. Not only is the craft brew industry thriving in Western New York, but craft distilleries are also gaining popularity. Today we'll introduce you to the Western Reserve Distillery based out of Lakewood, Ohio.
Hey there, Buffalo. Welcome to the Western Reserve Distillers Cocktail Corner. Last couple episodes, we spent a little bit of time teaching you how to make some fantastic cocktails at home. Today, we thought we'd get out and go to one of the best cocktail bars in the greater Buffalo area. I'm out here today at Black Iron Bistro with Chef Brian, and we're gonna hand over here shortly to Brian and Cassidy. They're gonna tell you a little bit about this fantastic restaurant and the great cocktail program they have on deck.
Welcome to Black Iron Bistro, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm chef and owner. We have a lovely little restaurant here in Kenmore, New York, just north of the city. We do a 4-course prix fixe dinner, and we also have, and that's reservation only, and then we also have a cocktail bar over here, and we do all kinds of small plates, a la carte, no reservation necessary for that. We look forward to seeing everyone here, and I think we have a little bit for everyone. So if you're vegan, vegetarian, all you gotta do is let us know in the comments of our reservation system. Very simple to follow. You can find us at blackironbistro.com. Bistro is spelled with a Y. And in the meantime, we'll throw it over to Cassidy, our bar manager, and she'll talk to you a little bit about some cocktails, yeah?
Hi, I'm Cassidy, the bar manager at Black Iron Bistro. Today I'll be making a cocktail using Western Reserve Distillers Reposado. To start, some rose simple syrup, fresh grapefruit juice, the reposado, and a few drops of cardamom bitters, served with a salt rim. A rose over the top. It pairs perfectly with our Persian love cake, a almond flour cake with lemon, cardamom, and rose with a tahini rose drizzle and pistachios over the top.
This is a reposado. You notice it has a little bit of a kind of a dark amber color to it. So really what we do first is we do the fermentation of that organic agave. It comes off the still and looks just like water, a little bit higher proof than water, but we let it sit for about 45 days or so just to kind of have it rest, let the flavors meld, and also let some of the oils kind of settle. And then what we do is we actually take our used bourbon barrels after we freshly dump them, we fill them with basically that clear Blanco, and then after about 10 to 12 months, we'll harvest those barrels, and that's really what kind of makes it a reposado. It means rested in Spanish. So it has to be less than a year, it has to be more than basically 60 days. We like it a little bit closer towards that 12-year mark. Gives it a little bit more kind of the caramel and some of the sweet notes of the bourbon, married with the delicious flavor of the agave plant.
Welcome back to the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. Next, we'll take a look at brewing history in Western New York with the local historian John Ice, who can tell us about some of the earliest breweries right here in Western New York.
I have always been interested in Buffalo's brewing history, which is a slice of Buffalo's history. So you can learn a lot about the Niagara frontier in Buffalo just by going through that slice of history that involves brewing, because it was such a large part of our history. I think there were two main causes of this, and one was having the canal and the Great Lakes here. All the grain that was coming from out west came to Buffalo, and as you see from the terminals and the storing facilities in Buffalo that still exist today, that a large portion of that grain was used for brewing here. And the second reason was, why would you sell it? Well, there must have been people here that liked to drink beer, and so many Alsatian and Germanic people settled in this area, and they were brought up on drinking beer. Brewing on the Niagara frontier basically started in Batavia, and when I talk about brewing, I'm talking about commercial brewing. And there was a brewery in Batavia starting in 1810. And then followed was another brewery that started in Black Rock in 1811, and that was Joseph Webb's brewery. And the unfortunate part for Joseph Webb was he started his brewery a year before the British came and burnt Black Rock down and Buffalo down. So obviously his brewery was destroyed then, and he actually petitioned the government, his family petitioned the government of the United States for reimbursement, and it never came through, but he gave it a shot. First brewery in Buffalo was by a gentleman by the name of Tunnicliffe, Thomas Tunnicliffe, who started sometime prior, maybe right around 1816. And it was right on Washington Street, just a couple of doors down from Exchange in Washington, kind of north of there. And he was first, and then it continued along with more and more breweries picking up as the demand for beer kept picking up in Buffalo. And we ended up with about 270 different commercial brewing operations in Buffalo through its history. And it actually was only at 90 different locations, but there were that many different brewing operations, companies that ran breweries. The largest year I could find was Erie County in 1867, had 58 breweries in operation at that time. That's a pretty good number. Now, some of those were small, parts of taverns, kind of brew pub idea back then. Some of them were quite large, like Mangus Beck's brewery. And he produced the most beer in Buffalo back in 1867. This continued through, and we kept consolidating breweries in the 1880s, and they went to selling stock in the breweries, that sort of thing, and the number of breweries decreased greatly because of the same thing, a consolidation. The last breweries to close in Buffalo was Iroquois Brewery, which I'm sure everybody remembers, from 1971, and then the last brewery to close in Buffalo was a Simon Pure Brewery, which closed in 72. And then we had nothing for a very long period of time. And then in 1989, a gentleman decided he was going to try something new, and he actually built and opened and operated the first brew pub in New York State, and that was in 89. And that's the brew pub that's still in operation today on Transit and Broadway, the Buffalo Brew Pub.
We'll be right back with more of the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. But first, here's another fun fact that you might not know.
Archaeological chemists have recently found evidence for an early brewing technique in China during the late Yang Shao period using broomcorn millet, barley, Job's tears, a kind of grain, and tubers. The scientists behind these findings suggest that barley may have been introduced to central China solely for the purpose of making beer.
Welcome back to the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. Consumers Beverages has been around since 1948 and is proud to be Buffalo's beer store with the largest selection of craft beer and cider in Western New York. Let's catch up with the president of Consumers, Neil Cavanaugh.
So my dad started Consumers Beverages in 1948 with 3 other gentlemen, and their objective was to home deliver beer and soda pop to the residents of Erie County. The other gentleman that he started the business with left the business within a few years of its inception. However, my dad kept the business going and grew from 15 truck routes up to 50 truck routes by about 1966, at which time he started opening retail stores as the community in Western New York grew and people's desire to buy beer on their way home from work grew. He was able to open more stores. Our first store opened in 1966 on South Park Avenue in South Buffalo, and we've now grown to 18 locations over Erie and Niagara County. When the business first started, they had 5 brands of beer and 2 brands of soda pop that they distributed, that consumers distributed. And they, in 1950, opened up a soft drink bottling plant in the building at Genesee and Bailey, and we were manufacturing soda pop until 1988. We had 17 different flavors of regular, 5 different flavors of diet in 10-ounce bottles and 32-ounce bottles, but as 2 liters prevailed in the market, and we sold the property where the bottling plant was housed, we focused more on the beer end of things. And when the company started, as I said, there were 5 brands of beer. Today we have nearly 3,000 different brands of beer in stock at each of our stores, all available ice cold. So I like to tell people that my dad took me to work on Take Your Son to Work Day when I was 9 years old, and he hasn't sent me home yet. My first job at Consumers was washing the floors in the offices, which are located in South Buffalo. When I was in 6th grade, on Saturdays and Sundays, my dad would take our whole family to work and assign us each a job. So it's truly a family-run business, family-owned business, and many members of our family are still here today. We've been able to grow the business in Western New York because of our loyal and dedicated staff members. We have multiple staff members who have been on staff for 20, 30, up to 50 years. We have many retirees in the community, but without our loyal and dedicated staff members, we would not have been able to serve the patrons in Western New York that are interested in having cold, fresh beer, especially local beers, at their convenience at any one of the 18 consumer beverage locations. We have over 3 buyers in our central office in South Buffalo that are currently seeking out craft beers from the local breweries as well as regional breweries, breweries in Canada, breweries across the world. We also have a network of distributors that bring us the products and the items that we currently have in stock. And there's been quite an influx of new items lately, including lemonades and teas and ready-to-drinks. And we search the world and we search the globe to find the items that our customers are looking for. The local breweries in Western New York put out unbelievable products. We have over 20 Western New York breweries that we feature in store. Each one of the breweries brings their own specialty items to the table, and it's one-stop shopping for people interested in local beers. We have an opportunity to continue to grow the business in Western New York. We're celebrating our 75th year. We have plans on deck to build 2 more stores in Western New York. I have 3 sons that are actively in the business, and we're looking forward to a bright future for Consumers Beverages.
Before we go, we'll introduce you to the sponsor of today's show, the Tinderbox in Williamsville. It's been the go-to cigar shop for beginners and connoisseurs alike. Now let's hand it off to Jim Dvorak, who'll tell us a little bit more about the Tinderbox.
Back in 1995, my father felt there was a need for a premium cigar shop in Western New York. He had a job that traveled all through the U.S., and there was really nothing in Western New York. He retired from his day job, and we opened the business. We feel we got one of Western New York's largest selection. We also felt the need for that in that when we went to other cities and stuff, the selection was definitely a lot larger than anything we had seen in Western New York, and we wanted to be that premium selection. There's three main growing regions cigars come from: Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and Honduras. Back in '95, most of the cigars came from the Dominican, and it seems that as people's tastes, evolved, Nicaraguan tobacco became more sought after just because it's a little more complex, a little more character to it, where Dominican cigars tend to be the milder ones on the market, which are good for, occasional smokers or new cigar smokers. Almost in the beginning, we were approached by Davidoff to be a white label dealer. We're exclusive to Western New York, and actually we're exclusive pretty much to the Niagara region. The closest store is Syracuse, or you actually got to leave the state and hit up Pittsburgh. So we're an exclusive Davidoff retailer, which is a high-end cigar, and quite an honor to carry. We do get usually a large selection of limited cigars. And they, again, tend to come around the holidays, Father's Day, Christmas. So we have one of the largest selection of rare cigars, whether it's in the Fuente, Opus X, Oliva, even rare Cohibas and Monte Cristos. I would say not only next to one of the largest cigar selections in Western New York, our accessories. We feature at least 3 different manufacturers of lighters, which are lifetime warranty lighters, large selection of humidors, leather carrying cases, travel humidors, and again, other accessories, whether it's the Bovita humidifiers, digital hydrometers, and quite a knowledgeable staff to help you. Our lounge is a public lounge. The only rule per se is that you do have to purchase the cigar from us to use our lounge. We have some of the more comfortable lounge chairs in Western New York. Our chairs are from Dream Seat, which you'll find in a lot of professional sports locker rooms. Quite comfortable chairs. We got bar seating too. We just installed a new HVAC system that is absolutely wonderful. Probably the best in Western New York. So it really does help minimize the smoking in the store. Just like everybody else is doing, we do have what's called a Connoisseurs Club. It's a loyalty program. You get a point for every purchase, and eventually when you get to a certain dollar amount, you start getting $5 coupons, if you will, which will be off your total purchase. We have quite a large selection of pipe tobacco, whether it's aromatic and some English blends. Our pipe selection, we try to keep up on our pipe selection. At times it is quite large, especially around the holidays. We try to thicken up with pipes. And again, those accessories, whether it's pipe lighters, cleaners, carrying cases for pipes. We try to feature several in-store events. They usually happen a lot more during the summer because of the sales reps or the cigar celebrities traveling more so during the summer. But we try to feature large events at least once a month. Those events will include buying events. Swag has gotten quite popular with the manufacturers, so usually not only are there gratis cigars involved with a purchase, there's usually very nice items, whether it's lighters, humidors, or large raffle prizes.
The straw was invented by the Sumerians for drinking beer. As sophisticated as ancient brewing practices were, there was still a chance for sediment to end up in a drinker's pint. So the Sumerians, Babylonians, and Egyptians were known to drink beer with straws made of reeds or gold, depending upon one's social class.
Thank you for watching the Consumers Beverages Beer Show. We'll see you next time. Cheers.